So you cheating, and you putting me in the middle of it? Okay. Hello, YouTube. My name is Trey Francis. I am a screenwriter and an actor. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload new videos. Also, if you like this content, please click the like button, of course, right? And leave a comment down below. So let's get into this video. So today I am reviewing. It is a new series that came on after Insecure. It's on HBO. It's a new series called I May Destroy You, and it's written by, starring, created, all that good stuff by Michaela Cole. I believe that's how you say her last name. She also did the show Chewing Gum on Netflix, which I also enjoyed, and I know a lot of friends of mine who also enjoyed that show. So if you haven't seen that show, go check that out just to give you some context. But then this show is completely different, so it'll give you context for her as a writer, but and a creator, but and an actor if you haven't seen her. However, this show is completely different from that show, and so definitely check out this show. It's on HBO, so there's a little bit more, there's more creative control. At least I like to think, especially when it comes, particularly I should say, when it comes to Black content creators on HBO. They love us over there. So anyways, this episode is called Eyes, 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 Eyes 4 times. It was directed by Sam Miller, and like I already said, it was written by, created and starring Michaela Cole. So the opening image of this, and just mind you, you might see, I'm gonna try to keep this iPad out of the view because I'm literally like half blind right now, in the sense that like one of my contacts fell out and I didn't have time. So I'm just trying to get this recorded so I can take this other one out because I tried to put a new one in, but my eye is super irritated, but whatever. So the opening image to this is that it's a quick little snapshot. So we see this messy room, this messy room, and you see all these like sticky notes on the wall. And basically it's very much so a writer's thing, sort of when you're like breaking in a story or whatever the case may be. You're trying to create like all the different scenes and all the different scenarios and all the different, the obstacles, the goal, the things that's going to get in the way of that goal, all this kind of stuff like this, right? The characters, all of this sort of setting up this world, building this universe. That is what's on the wall. However, it looked pretty empty to me. It looked pretty empty to me. So we get a quick little snapshot of that, and then we jump over to Michaela. She's looking for a cab. She's trying to hail a cab. She's sitting there with her Italian boo thing. He sort of seems kind of a bit, he's kind of in the background, right? She's up front, she's trying to hail a cab. She finally gets one. She hugs him, it feels good, but this is a goodbye, right? She's leaving him. So she was over, she was over in Italy to do, as sort of like a writing retreat. Her management company sent her over there because she had great success with her first book, and now she was sent over there to start work on her second book, basically to finish a draft of her second book so that when she gets back to London, which is where she's from, she can give it to her management company or whomever, her agency, right? And then they can read the draft and give her some notes and see how they like it. However, what it looks like from what we get from this first opening image of these sticky notes that literally not having anything on it, from what I can see, she didn't do her job. So the main character's name, who is played by Michaela Cole, her name is Arabella, right? Arabella or Bella. So if you hear me say any of those, it's because they use it interchangeably in the show. So Arabella or Bella. So, like I said, she's sitting there. We basically find out that she's in this situationship with this guy from Italy. His name is Biagio. I love that name. Arabella, like I said, she was supposed to be writing the sequel to her first book. And I don't know if you use the word sequel for books, but whatever that's supposed to be, that's what she's writing. So, which we recognize that she didn't do. So before she leaves to go back to London, Arabella basically asked Biagio if they're boyfriend and girlfriend. He's like, I don't like to talk about those types of things. I don't like these types of conversations. He basically goes and tells the cab driver where she needs to go to get to the airport or where the case may be, and he's trying to get the fuck up out of there because he doesn't want to have this conversation. So Arabella's just like, there's nothing to talk about. All you gotta do is say that we're together. and he tells her ciao Bella, like goodbye. She says, so we'll talk. He says, okay. And she's just like, okay, well, when? And he goes, I'll call you when I want to talk to you. And I was like, well, damn. So he walks off. She gets in the cab. She pulls out her laptop. Like I said, she didn't do nothing on this trip. She actually admits, she said she didn't do anything on this trip. She said the only thing she did on this trip was eat 4 cheese pizza and dick. And I was just like, ooh, sounds like a great time to me. But anyways, she was supposed to be over there for a book, which she didn't do. So he walks off. She gets in the cab. She's on her way to the airport so she can fly back to London. And she pulls out her laptop because she didn't do her work. And literally 20 seconds later, she gets a call from her Italy bae. And he basically is, he reminds her of something or kissing B, and they hang up. She smiles and she feels good about herself. She closes her eyes and she starts to daydream about like the amazing times that they've had together since, on the beach, eating pizza on the balcony, drinking some mimosas and all this good stuff. For during this retreat, right, where she was supposed to be getting work done, but she didn't. So she leaves and she's on her way back to London. So when she's back in London, we see her on the phone with her agency or her management company. I might use those interchangeably, but whatever it is, that's what it is. So let's go with agency. So her agency is on the phone with her. There's a woman and a man. They're talking to her and they're wanting to know about how her writing went over in Italy. And they say that they were worried about her at first because she wasn't answering their phones, and then the lady, because there's a male agent and a female agent, and the woman agent, trying to use female, but in this case it works. The female agent, she's like, we were worried about you because you were ignoring our calls and our emails, but then I noticed how much fun you were having, but because I checked out your Instagram and it's filled with all these photos from Italy, and so I wrote, y'all gonna learn one day. You can't put everything on the ground because they will find out about it, right? So, excuse me. So, they want to meet up with her basically the next morning to go over her draft of the book, and Bella says, she says she's about done with it. It's a lie, but she doesn't want them to know this, right? And so she thinks if she pulls an all-nighter, she's gonna be able to write a whole book, and I'm just like, I don't think that's how it works. So she agrees to meet up with them and she hangs up the phone. So then we're back at her flat in London. We meet her roommate, Ben, I believe his name is, and her bestie, which her name is Terry. She's an actress. She's an actor on the show. So they're watching TV, and there's like this Easter egg about the rainforest destruction that's going on over in Ghana, and the protests that are going on in Ghana against the deforestation, right? So they also begin to talk about her visit to Italy, and her friend Terry is like, well, haven't you been over there so many times? Like, where's the title essentially? And she's like, well, you know what? Interestingly enough, I asked him right before I left, and her friend was like, well, what did he say? And she's like, he said no. And so they laugh about it or whatever, and she was basically saying how Arabella basically, she's basically on to him, but she can't help it that every time she goes back over there, even though they don't do anything but fuck, she still comes back with like obsessed with him. Like she has these feelings for him, and I'm like, we've all been there and we've all been dumb to be there, but we learn, right? We grow. I've been there, right? Every time you see that, like, you on top of you're doing stuff or whatever and you can't, it'd be hard. And then whenever you're not around them and you're trying to text them or you're trying to communicate with them, then it's crickets. That pisses me the fuck off. But anyways, this ain't about me. So so then Arabella, she gets up because she's like, I have to finish this draft, right? My agency, they're wanting it. So she heads out. She told them that she was going to go to the office, right, the agency, and that she was going to sit in there, figure out the rest of this draft, and so that they can have something to talk about at their meeting at 10 a.m. the next morning. So, and they want her to send the draft to them at 6 a.m. mind you, so that they have a few hours to read it, and then they can meet up with her and they can actually give her notes about what they read. So she has 4 less hours in the meeting. So she turns on some music, she smokes a little weed, and she invites one of her friends over, I guess as moral support and sort of as a sounding board to see if everything makes sense, right? And I believe that his name is Kwame. I may mess up some of these names because, yeah, but his name is Kwame. So he's supposed to be there for more support. However, she still isn't having any her time spent writing is still not productive, right? So then she receives a call from her male friend, Simon. He's on the phone with her, and he basically is like, hey, can you come out with us, please? Like, it's his cousin was visiting London. He has an American cousin who is visiting London, and he basically is saying, hey, he likes you. He's seen your pictures on Instagram, and he likes you, and so can you come out so that before he leaves tomorrow morning, essentially, he can meet you and we can all have a good time out on the town. Arabella says she can't do it because she has work to do, and so she hangs up. So then we go over to Simon and Kat's place. So Simon was right. Simon is the guy who was just on the phone with Arabella, her friend. At least that's what I'm surmising, that he's just a friend. And so Simon has a girlfriend. Her name is Kat. And so Simon and Kat, we find out that the reason that Simon wanted Arabella to come out is so that she could be a distraction for the cousin, right? So because what they want to do is they met someone on a dating app, and on a threesome dating app, and they want to convince this girl, like, hey, everything is okay, you should come back home with us so that we can get do. That's what they want. And from this conversation, we can see that Kat, the girlfriend, she's a little bit more interested in having a threesome than Simon. Simon's kind of like being like standoffish about it. He's like, yo, you're forcing me to have this threesome and yada yada yada. And Kat says she thinks that it would be good for them. And so then we jump over to another scene, right? So now we're back at the management office. It's clear that Arabella, she's reading her draft to her friend, trying to, some of the words that she's put on the page. But Kwame, he's on a dating app himself. He's on a gay dating app, I'm assuming. I think he's gay. When he was scrolling through, it was all guy pictures. So yeah, I'm assuming he's gay. He could be bisexual. He could be something else. But for this review, we can just say gay. So he was on this gay dating app. He was looking at all these men. And one of them actually hits him up saying that they want to meet up. So he's about to go have a good time. And he leaves Arabella to figure out her book by herself. So we go back to Simon and Kat. And Simon and Kat, they arrive at the club. They're there with their match. Let me see her names. I wrote it down here somewhere. Her name is Alyssa. That's her name. So they meet Alyssa. Alyssa's she's kind of interesting. Like, she's a very beautiful girl, but she seems kind of she seems like 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right? And as they're sitting there talking, Kat's doing much more of the talking. We learned that Kat and Simon, they've been in a relationship for the past 8 years, and I guess this is sort of to spice things up. And when Alyssa hears that, she's sort of like shocked by it, and Kat's like, oh, don't make me feel old, and she's just like, no, like, I didn't know this was like an 8-year thing, right? And so she starts you can see her sort of having some trepidation about sort of continuing on with this. And so before you know it, Alyssa receives a call, and I think, there's some of these apps where if you're not feeling something, you can press a button and it'll call you, or whatever the case may be, or you can send a text to a friend and have them call you. But she gets on the phone and she's like, oh yeah, like, apparently something happened with her mom. Her mom isn't feeling well and she has to run off. And I'm just like, people's moms don't feel well all the time. And like, does she live with you? Like, can't you stay? But she says, no, I gotta go. So she's out the door. So then they do like a jump shot over to Arabella. She's still not having a good time. So she decides, hey, you know what? I'm gonna set a 1 hour timer on my phone so I can go out on the town. But after this 1 hour, I gotta be back here like Cinderella. So she goes out, she leaves, and then we jump back over to go meet up with Simon and Kat, right? But we jump back over to Simon and Kat. They're at the bar. Like I said, the girl ends up leaving, right? Because I feel like it's too much for her and she wanted to get out of that situation. So then Kat, she looks over at Simon, she looks over at Simon's American cousin. They're both on their phones, seemingly very disinterested in the night. And so Kat's just like, you know what? I'm actually gonna go home. Our prospect left, so I'm gonna leave too. Y'all ain't interested, y'all boring. I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. So she goes, she leaves, right? Next thing we know, we see Arabella. She's meeting with Simon and his cousin. She finds them. They meet up. When the cousin sees Arabella, who likes her, he gonna go, oh, you're actually shorter than I thought. And I'm just like, well, damn. She just looks at him and I'm like, the disappointment, because that has happened to me, for some people, you meet up with them. I've been catfished, so to me, it was just like you're a whole different person. Now, so I'm nearly 6'2". I generally like tall ass, you know, like I like tall. So, I've met up and people have not been as tall as they said, and I think maybe they thought I was also using the wrong height. But I'm like, if you're over 6 feet, I think you're gonna use your right height. You don't gotta fake a height when you're over 6 feet. I don't think that's necessary. So if I'm saying this, please don't up your height and then we get together and like you down here. Like that's not what we doing. So whatever. You gotta go, because I do send people on their way. I do. I send you on your way if you be lying on these apps and then we meet up, and that's not the case. So if that's the case, you gotta go. I met someone one time where it was a whole different photo, and he goes, I see him and I'm shocked because who was on the photo? That's somebody I would talk to. This person shows up knocking at my door. I'm like, oh, I'm first of all, I didn't know it was this person. I'm thinking it's the whomever. And so I'm trying to see what they want. He goes, oh, I'm the guy from the app. The guy from the app? No, you're not. I know what he looks like in you. I don't use the word ugly and stuff. I think that's me. But you ain't him. Let's just say that. So he goes, oh, you know what? I realized on his way over here, that he was using his friend's photos. I'm like, your friend's photos? I've never put my friends. First of all, that's a long time to realize, because not only do you have to upload all of your friends, because he didn't send me one photo. He sent me like 3 or 4, because I had to double check, right? So then, and I'm asking, oh, this is you, any other pics? Okay, you send me other pics of your face. So how do you upload all your friends' pics onto your app? And then those are the pics that you're sending me, and you just notice when you're on your way over to my place. And then he had the nerve to go, because I was like, oh, well, this ain't gonna work. He gonna go, well, I can leave if you're uncomfortable. If I'm uncomfortable with your face, yes, go. So anyways, he had to go. So Arabella, she meets up with her cousin. She meets up with Simon and his cousin, right? When a fan then approaches them, she sees them, and we kind of get the sense that, okay, so Arabella, she's actually pretty successful with her first book, because the fan comes up, they share a little story or whatever the case may be, and she asks if she can take a photo with them. She says yes. 1 second, this eye is fucking with me. I'm like, now something's behind this contact? Like, what gives? Anyways, we're gonna get through this video. So then, after the fan leaves, Arabella, they head over to a club because they're gonna start bar hopping, right? They go to this karaoke club. Arabella gets on stage. It's a hip hop karaoke night, right? So Arabella gets on stage and she actually raps to Truffle Butter, and I was like, yes. I think she did Wayne's part. She did Lil Wayne's part, which I was like, yes. She sounded good actually doing it too. And I'm just like, first of all, everything sounds like more sensual and more sexy. Maybe it was the accent. I think it was, because I was into it, and I don't even like, but I was into her voice. But anyways. So while she's performing on the stage, Simon actually hits up Alyssa. So remember, Alyssa left. That's why I said I had a feeling. I was like, something seems off about this shit. So I'm watching it. She gets up, she leaves. So he hits her back up saying, I told you she wouldn't notice anything. And Alyssa's like, okay, well bet. I'm gonna meet you back up. I'm gonna meet back up with you. And I was just like, so y'all really out here cheating. Y'all cheating. Like, y'all doing the most, right? So he was sitting up being looking disinterested in front of his girlfriend, while this girl was in on the scheme. So I'm like, oh, so y'all, this premeditated. This is a lot of stuff. Like this, when I find out this, because she gonna find out this, I would have to go. I would have to leave. But anyways, so they hop over to another bar, and this is when, so the girl meets up in there. Arabella was outside smoking a cigarette over a case of beef. She looks through the window and she sees this girl all up on Simon. So she goes in there, she confronts him, and she's like, well, who's this girl? He's like, who? She's like, this girl that's literally sitting on top of you. And you kissing all up on her and stuff. And he was like, oh, she's just some girl or whatever case may be. And she was like, well, where's Kat? Because I actually like Kat. Like, I'm good with Kat. Like, Kat, like, you and Kat, like, that looks right. And he's just like, she ain't here. And he said something that I was just like, it kind of felt threatening. He was like, he looks over at her and he goes, he basically says something about, like, this could be our little secret. And he mentioned something else, which kind of led me to believe that maybe, like, he has something on her that he doesn't, that she doesn't want her friend to know. So I don't know. So I'm like, did they sleep together too? Like he cheating with everybody? I ain't sure. I don't know. But something about the way that he said that was, you know, and me trying to fill in context clues, I was like, something happened maybe between them that they don't want I believe her name was Kat to know. So anyways, why is this contact fucking with me, guys? I'm sorry. I'm trying to stop this video because I don't... Okay. So anyways, so next time you know, they do some coke. They start taking shots and stuff. They're on the dance floor. They're dancing. They're having a good time. And then Arabella is like fucked up. So I don't know if someone put something in her drink. I don't know if it's the mixture of the alcohol and the coke and the smoking and then the weed and this and that. I don't know what it is, right? But she's not good. She's not doing well. She falls and she hits her head on the bar. She falls to the ground. She gets up and we see her stumbling. And it's a beautiful shot. It's beautifully shot. But she's stumbling towards the door and she finally gets out and she's trying to go back home so that she can finish her draft. Like, so still at the top of her brain, I think. However, she didn't realize that she was gonna get this fucked up. But she heads back out and she goes back. She goes back to the management's office or the agency, right, to finish her stuff. So we see her. She's in there copying and pasting shit from like her different social media platforms and just throwing it in there. And then she just closes the laptop. She presses in for the email and she closes her laptop and she's like, I'm done with this shit. So then now Arabella, she's at her management office or the agency, right? And they look and seem confused about her work. They're underwhelmed with her work. And, you know, just the dots aren't connecting. They're like, wait, how you wrote this first book, not the second book? This ain't, like, he was like, where is the story? Like, I don't follow, right? So Arabella, she excuses herself because she don't even know what she put on the page. She can't remember. So she's like, bathroom. And so she gets up and she goes in there. She's trying to scan over it, right? Because they asked her like, well, where's the ending? Like, what's the ending going to be about, right? So she comes back. They ask her again, like, okay, so what about the ending? She doesn't know. And then we see on her head, her forehead starts to bleed because she had a cut from the night before, right? I guess with all this pressure, this light or whatever case to be on her, it starts to bleed again. So they call the meeting, right? They adjourn the meeting. Okay, she gets the fuck up out of there. She's stumbling out of there too because she still has like, I guess, a high from the night before. She's still drunk from the night before, whatever the case may be. And so as she's out there, she stumbles across another fan. They want to take a photo, right? So they take a photo with her. They're thanking her for writing the kind of books that she wrote, the kind of book that she wrote, right? And then she asked them if they know like how to get her basically back home to her apartment because she can't remember. So they hail her a cab. She gets in the cab. She gets back to her place, and this is where we close. So she gets to her place. She opens the door to her bedroom, and as she touches the doorknob, a memory, sort of like a flashback, right, pops into her head, and it's of a guy fucking somebody. He looks disgusting. He looks gross. It looks very rapey, if I'm going to be honest. It just looks like he's taking advantage of somebody. And so as she opens her eyes, she draws her hands from the door and she kind of looks, and she has this look on her face, and then the screen goes black, and that's just how it ends. And so I have a feeling that her first book is probably about like consent, right? And the show is going to explore like levels of consent. We saw like what was going on between Arabella and the guy at the beginning of the Italian Bay, right? Biagio, how there was this like this cat and mouse sort of thing of surrounding consent and like being in this relationship. And then we see the whole thing with between Simon and Kat and how that's going, and them trying to consent to have someone join their relationship as far as a threesome goes, because that's severely what Kat is into. However, Simon's just into cheating. And then we also see how consent is going to play out, I believe, when it comes to whatever is going on with Kat and that guy who did whatever he did to her, or Arabella and that guy who did whatever he did to her. As since we saw it from her viewpoint, I believe that whatever the fuck he was doing to her, he did it to her in a way that wasn't pleasurable for her or desirable for her. Like, she didn't desire it nor want it or anything like that. So that's just my kind of 2 cents on it. So I'm excited to continue to follow these characters and these stories as we move on to this. This is a new sort of scene by scene that I'm going to be taking on. I'm trying to look for what else is out there. I do have some more things in the works, some more in different types of videos. But I like reviewing TV shows because that's what I write. I write dramedy, so I love reviewing TV shows, especially like in the 30-minute hour. I might do some hours where I'm just like, ugh, I'm already long-winded as it is, so I'm like, just stick to 30 minutes. We shall see. I'm possibly thinking about doing, because I've never seen, I'm going to admit this right here, I've never seen Game of Thrones. I've never seen it. And so I'm thinking about doing like a YouTuber watches Game of Thrones for the first time, and maybe going through those seasons, all those seasons, and doing reviews for that. I know that I want to do Lovecraft Country. I think that's what it's called, by Jordan Peele. He's the executive producer of it, but it's by other people and stuff. And when time comes, I will have those names to amplify and put out there into the universe, right? To make sure that they get their props as well. But you know, they're putting his name out there just because, you know, it's Jordan Peele. But he has that coming up, and it's going to be starring Journey Smollett Bell. So I'm very interested in watching that. It looks like it's going to be really, 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 really good. I think there's another thing that's coming up called Antebellum. I'm not sure if it's a TV show or a movie, but whatever it is, I want to watch that and review it. So there's a lot of different content that hopefully will kind of bring out some more stuff for me to do, that will be coming out soon, so it can help me have more stuff to do on my channel. But that is all that I have for you guys in this one. Again, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Help a new YouTuber out. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this new series, and let me know if there's any series that you're watching that you wouldn't mind me sort of reviewing as well. So that is all that I have for you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.